Hey guys, how's it going? It's day 5 today, and I am very happy to tell you that I and the rest of the Samba group did indeed nail it yesterday at the opening ceremony of the 2015 Cerebral Palsy World Games. Yes. However, I have had 2 nightfalls since my last video. One last night and one the night before. 2 in a row, so early into the NoFap as well. Quite odd, since it usually takes me 2 or 3 weeks of NoFap. That's why I have just titled this video NoFap Day 5, because semen wasn't conserved and I probably didn't practice mental and visual celibacy as well as I could have, even though I tried. It's just going to take a lot of practice. If I could lay a foundation by being physically celibate for a long time, it should become easier. So, last night, after a cigarette and 1.5 pints of beer, I dreamt I was in Derbyshire countryside, hills and footpaths, but it was busy like a street in a city. I was with a girl who looked similar to one of the dancers I had seen yesterday, maybe because of shoddy mental and visual celibacy. The trick, in my case as a person who is attracted to women, is to see members of the opposite sex like sisters, daughters and mothers. An interesting technique I learned from reading about brahmacharya. It's just going to take a little practice. Anyway, this girl in my dream was tall, mixed race, had red lipstick on, and her hair was curly and quite reddish. She told me about her friend who had taken LSD. I asked her if she had some, and she took out a bag and gave me 2 of these things which looked a bit like those flying saucer sweets, but they had pigs' faces on. I put them in my mouth, and they melted like flying saucer sweets do. I remember having flying saucers at my mate's house on day 3 actually. Anyway, I ingested the LSD and I felt very euphoric. Not many visuals, just euphoria. I felt very romantic with this girl, and I asked her if we could do stuff. She said yes, and without going into too much detail, we did stuff. I remember an LSD trip report about enhanced orgasm control with the drug, and that's how I felt. Even though I wasn't on acid at the time, obviously, it felt like I could control the intensity and length of the orgasm up to a point, so I made it longer and more intense, of course. I closed my eyes during the orgasm, and I saw a flash of light, which wasn't blinding, quite a gentle pulse actually. After that, another similar looking girl came up to her and expressed how jealous she was of her for being intimate with me. I don't know what to say about that. I also remember wanting to take Viagra next time I have an intimate encounter in order to last longer. Jean-Luc Picard and myself as Ralph Hutter from Kraftwerk playing the tuba during the 1970 Rock Palast TV show, which I have dreamt about before. I woke up, but it was some time after the emission, I believe. Then I managed to fall asleep again. I'm actually going to see Kraftwerk live in Frankfurt this December. I saw them before at the Tate in London, so I am really looking forward to seeing them a second time. I shall save all of my semen that doesn't come out at night for that event and beyond. Okay, the previous night, after a cigarette and a diphenhydramine hydrochloride tablet to help me sleep before the gig, I'm trying to remember if the emission was actually accompanied by a dream or if it just happened by itself. I remember dreaming about Romanian cricketers. A Romanian girl, she may have had something to do with the emission, but I can't recall anything sexual from that night. And a Star Trek scene my brain made up, similar to some interior Starfleet HQ scenes from the voyage home. I vividly recall 3 delegates who looked like Chancellor Gorkon, but they were young humans with big sideburns. I didn't wake up from this one either, just carried on sleeping and dreaming. So, it could have been the cigarettes, again. Perhaps the beer and the sleeping tablet didn't help either. I have to stop this. But the important thing is that I haven't fapped, and I shall continue not doing so. And that will be a good foundation to help iron out other bad habits like the ones I've just described. Physical celibacy itself is not the end goal. Mental and visual celibacy are also super important, and I don't think I've been practicing those well enough recently. That and smoking stimulants before bed. Maybe I don't mind nightfalls if they are more romantic and not pornographic, and don't involve anyone I would rather forget about. But semen loss for a lot of brahmacharis is bad. On the other hand, a Facebook user posted a really nice quote by Ramakrishna Paramahansa on a brahmacharya celibacy group. He said, "There is no harm in nocturnal emission. That reproductive element is from food. After nocturnal emission, a man retains enough to succeed, but he must not lose it voluntarily. What remains after nocturnal emission is very refined. The Lahas stored pots of molasses with holes in the bottom. After a year, it was found that the molasses had turned into crystals like sugar candy. Whatever liquid there was had come out through the holes. I think that's beautiful, and I don't feel drained after a nightfall the same way I do after onanism, unless, and this is just advice I'm giving myself, masturbation is done with a clear mind, where you focus on yourself completely, and you're not looking at anyone else on a screen, or thinking about anyone so that you're giving them some kind of power over you, and you are being completely autosexual and autoromantic. You are keeping the pleasure for yourself. Do it in front of a mirror. Be mindful if you are with a special partner. Just don't look at porn or think about others pornographically. Be present and mindful about who you are with, be it yourself or another. Love yourself and be kind to yourself and others like they are family. But for now, I am going to love myself by conserving the semen and letting things build up and circulate indefinitely. I think I will post this on www.wetdreamforum.com, which is a community of men and women whose preferred sexual outlet is the wet dream. I call them onirosexuals, the prefix oniro denoting dreams, of course. As a novelty seeker, I love all these different subcultures and different kinds of things. It's all fantastic. No more cigarettes. See you later.